Hey everyone, it's Jacqueline at Pixie Dust PhD. I am filming this on Sunday, March 12th, 2023. This is the month 37 creator update. Since early to mid-February or so, there has been so much Disney news. We're going to do rapid fire highlights. And then of course we will go over stats and analytics for month 37 as well as lifetime of the channel. I'm not totally sure when this will get posted. I'm going to try to film, edit, correct the captions, and get it up today. That might not happen though, so apologies if this is a week late or so and the news may have changed, but it's a hectic time at work for me. Without further ado, let's get into it, starting with some rapid fire news. In character news, Red Panda May from the movie Turning Red is now at Shanghai Disneyland. She is so cute, very perfect. I'm so jealous. Why don't they put her in the Canada Pavilion in Epcot? The Hulk character is making its way over to Avengers Campus in Disneyland Paris. Disneyland Paris did also have Walk Around Mandalorian and Grogu, or Baby Yoda, that they hyped up a lot, and it turns out that they also debuted Mando and Baby Yoda in Walt Disney World in Batuu, and from what I've heard, that is supposed to be like a permanent-ish thing, or at least it's not extremely limited time. We touched on this before, but at Disneyland they are getting some sort of Avatar something. This Avatar expansion was quoted as being as amazing as the World of Pandora at Walt Disney World. That being said, previously they've been very careful to avoid words like Avatar attraction, Avatar ride. It's always like an Avatar experience. So I'm having a hard time imagining what could be as amazing as the full-blown Pandora land. Only time will tell, and I don't think there's a timeline on that project yet. We have now also seen artist rendering previews of San Fransokyo over in Disneyland at DCA. That's supposed to open this summer, and it will feature a Baymax meet and greet. In Disney Cruise Line news, we got a sneak preview at Lighthouse Point, which is their new private island in the Bahamas. This is set to open summer 2024. I don't yet think there are any clear itineraries that are definitely going to Lighthouse Point, so stay tuned to Disney Parks blog or other DCL news channels for that information when it comes out. I'm definitely not your key source of Disney Cruise Line news here. Looking at rides at Walt Disney World, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind is slated to stay virtual queue even past when Tron opens, also with a virtual queue. There's been a lot of chatter about this. People seem to think that Walt Disney World can't handle more than one virtual queue at a time, which is just, I'm pretty sure, patently false. Maybe they don't want to do more than one virtual queue at a time. I'm sure it stresses the technology a little bit, but like it's totally possible, especially when you're talking about virtual queues in different areas. So one virtual queue in Epcot, one virtual queue in Magic Kingdom. That's more than doable. I also posted this over on my Twitter, but after our January trip, which we did do the virtual queue for Cosmic Rewind during, part of the survey I got was basically saying like, hey, did you know that if we take virtual queue away, you're going to have to wait probably 2 hours or more, and a lot of that queue is not inside, so you'd be outside in the sun. My interpretation of that is basically if enough guests say, like, yeah, I'd rather do the virtual queue than wait for 2 hours outside in the sun, the virtual queue is here to stay for probably a long time, but we'll see. Point being, though, it's definitely staying at least for now. Even when Tron opens with virtual queue, Cosmic Rewind will still be on virtual queue at that time. Also, Rock and Roller Coaster is down for refurbishment. It's slated to open again sometime this summer. There's a lot of speculation about if it's going to be totally rethemed by then. I have no clue. I have no real opinion on this. I would like to see a refresh for sure in the theme, but like, And starting March 20th at Walt Disney World, if you buy Genie Plus, then your on-attraction, those on-ride photos are going to be included in your purchase. So for example, if you buy Genie Plus and you go to Epcot and you manage to get on Cosmic Rewind, that on-ride attraction will be free for you, unwatermarked. You don't necessarily have to buy the individual photo or one-day memory maker or full-on memory maker. Again, that's starting on March 20th with the purchase of Genie Plus. In Disney World dining news, the Roundup Rodeo barbecue reservations were released. That didn't go so smoothly from what I can tell on the internet. I wasn't personally trying to snag one right when they released. But if you are heading to Walt Disney World soon, in principle, you can now book that restaurant. It is $45 per adult for lunch or dinner. In Narcoossee's is finally opening back up on April 1st. There were some menu updates, but the menu doesn't look super different in my opinion, and most importantly, from what I can tell, it's definitely not a prefix menu, which I'm really happy about. So we're still missing 1900 Park Fare, but other than that, I think pretty much everything has come back for the most part, so hooray, we're finally more or less back to pre-pandemic Walt Disney World offerings. Disney World nighttime news, they were testing Happily Ever After fireworks the other night, so as you all know, Happily Ever After is coming back, but they're doing the tests, very excited for that. And a bunch of after-hours events were released. By after hours, I mean these are the hard-ticketed after-hours events. They usually cost upwards of $120, $150 per person, something like that. So it's not, your extended evening hours that are free or, included for deluxe resort guests. These are separate after-hours events. At Hollywood Studios, there's now after-hours events listed through June. Epcot's getting after hours events this summer, June through August. And H2O Glow, the Typhoon Lagoon after hours, are going to be May through just the very beginning of September. In other Disney World news, if you are an annual pass holder beginning on April 18th, you will not need to make a park reservation if you want to go to a park after park hopping hours at 2 p.m., the exception being Magic Kingdom on the weekends. The Star Cruiser is reducing its number of voyages beginning in October. It will go down to about 2 a week. There's a lot of speculation that this is the Star Cruiser failing. I've never done the math myself, I'm not invested enough, but I think we knew from the beginning that it's not like the Star Cruiser needed to be 100% booked to be profitable. I'm pretty sure it didn't need to be all that booked to be profitable. So in my mind, reducing the number of voyages is just compacting the same number of people into less shifts for the crew, which in principle should just increase your profit. So I think it's an efficiency thing for them for profit reasons. Maybe some of the cast members that are way more involved in the storytelling, maybe they want some more days off, something like that. I don't know. I don't think this is a huge sign that the Star Cruiser's failing just yet. I'm pretty sure Disney knew that after the initial swell of hype, it would go down to a much more normal cadence of far fewer people booking because it is so expensive. I'm sure they knew that when they planned out the price to make it profitable. And now they're just tweaking that to ensure their profits. That's my opinion anyway. In political news that relates to Walt Disney World that I don't really want to get into much for now because there's no clear implications at the moment, the state of Florida basically overtook the Reedy Creek Improvement District. This is the district that oversees Walt Disney World for the most part. So the governor appointed a slew of folks to the Reedy Creek Board of Supervisors. They're kind of in control now. We'll see what happens. For now, I don't think there's been anything so major that it's super worth reporting on, but this is happening, so something could be coming down the line. And in general Disney news, Bob Iger spoke at a Morgan Stanley conference, I believe earlier this week, where he basically said that he felt that in recent years, the pricing strategy that Disney was using, I assume they meant at the parks, was too aggressive. I don't think this means we'll see massive ticket price reductions anytime soon, but it is nice to hear that being acknowledged. In Disney Vacation Club news, you can now take a look at the refurbished rooms at Boulder Ridge through a Disney Files On Demand video. I will leave a link to that in the description below. I think they look really great. I'm really excited. Definitely makes me want to stay at Boulder Ridge more than I've ever wanted to stay before. And let's chat about the villas at the Disneyland Hotel, aka the DVC Tower at Disneyland. I did that speculation video where my partner and I talked about this a little bit already, so we won't go over that, but there are a few more details that I've learned in the interim that we can talk about. Villas at the Disneyland Hotel are officially opening on September 28th, so we do have an opening date now. It is 344 rooms. That's a mix of duo studios, which are essentially the tower studios at Riviera for only 2 people, deluxe studios, 1, 2, and 3 bedroom villas. We don't yet know the breakdown, though I would assume that there's going to be a higher slant toward deluxe studios than some of the older properties. They gave us an artist rendering preview of the lobby that has like a really beautiful mural with a bunch of characters. I was for sure able to spot Tiana, Snow White, from Encanto, Mirabel, and Antonio. Pretty sure that's Raya and Sisu. At least Anna from Frozen and the Ice Palace. I'm not sure if any of the other Frozen pals are going to sneak in here. Maybe this is Mulan. This horse looks like Mulan's horse, but I'm not totally sure. Looks like a Simba here. This floating thing might be Jasmine. Maybe Aladdin's on there too. Not sure. For sure this is Mowgli and Baloo. Looks like Moana. There's definitely a Bambi. So who else did you spot in this artist rendering? Obviously the final mural could change, but this looks really cool and I'm excited to see it someday. Then some DVC emails came that had fine print that might be interesting for us. Before we get into those, do you receive these Disney Vacation Club emails? I don't get these, and I always thought that was because I was a resale member, but my friend Liz, who forwarded me her copy of this email, thanks so much Liz, is also a resale member, and she does get these emails. So if you get these emails, or if you don't get these emails, can you leave a comment down below and let me know like what your official membership status is with Disney Vacation Club? I'm trying to figure out if I should be receiving these emails or not. But anyway, fine print in this email says that the expiration is going to be January 31st, 2074. And it says that the price will typically range from $34,100 to upwards of $60,000, subject to change. But if you take that lower end, $34,100, and divide it by the current minimum buy-in, which is 150 points, you're going to end up at around $227 a point. At the time I'm recording this on Sunday, March 12th, we still don't have actual pricing. We don't have the points charts, anything like that. So this is totally me guessing. But they did list that $34,000 figure in that fine print, and working from the 150 point minimum for new members seems to make sense. Someone did leave a comment on that Updates and Rumors video saying that the fine print said $34,000, and I asked them like, what fine print are you talking about? They didn't respond, but I finally figured out apparently there was fine print in this email. And I do think if you do the math and come to $227 per point, that pretty much makes sense to me. I believe I voiced this in that Rumors and Updates video, but right now if you buy directly from Disney for Riviera, Aulani, and Grand Flow, so the ones that are not sold out, it's $217 per point. Presumably they'll bump that up before they release the Disneyland DVC Tower for sale. And I've always thought like $225 makes perfect sense to me, $230 seems a little bit high of a jump, like a $13 point jump all in one go for those resorts that are currently on sale. $227 is right in the middle. Total speculation, but I do think it makes sense. And the website for the villas at the Disneyland Hotel continues to evolve. At least as of today, it very clearly states that it's not yet registered in all jurisdictions. So I think still working on some of the timeshare aspects of that mayhaps. That was all of the pertinent Disney news I wanted to go over. I think it was quite a lot. I normally leave links to everything in the description below, but there is a character limit on the description, so probably won't leave links for everything this time because I don't think I'll be able to with how much news there is. But if you have questions about any of these specific topics I brought up and you want a link to an outside source, leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Moving on to stats and analytics, we will start with month 37. These run from February 11th through March 10th. Discounting shorts, here is the content that was posted this month. Last month's monthly creator update finally posted the Disneyland Paris highlights and lowlights video. There was just like a 1-minute trip trailer for our January Walt Disney World trip. It really doesn't have a lot of views, so if you have a minute to spare, I would appreciate it. I actually really like the trip trailer. It's one of my favorite things I've put together in a long time. Then there's the arrival day / Toledo dinner review video and the room tour of our standard deluxe studio at Bay Lake Tower. Then of course there was the Disneyland DVC Tower update and rumors chat and our Steakhouse 71 lunch review. In that last video at Steakhouse 71, I decided to put open captions on the video so the text is on the screen instead of you turning closed captions on or off. Let me know what you think about that. It was definitely more work for me, but for a shorter video, I feel like if it improves accessibility, I'm happy to do it. Top content this month was definitely dominated by shorts. This is by views, not watch hours. Only 2 proper videos made it in here. That was the Disability Access Service info video at Walt Disney World, as well as that Disneyland DVC chat. And noting that for the most part, these were all shorts. Shorts tend to get posted, get all of their views in a day or two, and then never be viewed again. So a vast majority of these were posted this month. Just the Disability Access Service video was not posted this month. Although shorts doing well really added up in some of the stats. For example, this month, the channel had over 18,000 views in the monthly period. This is by far a record for me. And the channel reached over 14,000 unique viewers, again, presumably from shorts, again, a record for the channel. 317 of those viewers were returning, so this is a little bit of a dip for me. I'd rather be closer to the 400 mark, but I get it, it happens. For those of you who do come back and check out the channel, thank you so much. I do really appreciate your support and you liking the videos, commenting down below, subscribing, turning on notifications, all that good stuff. Despite the high amount of content views, I had a pretty average, I would say, month for watch hours. It was about 475 hours. Perhaps a little low. I think lately it's nice to be over 500 hours, but not bad by any means. The channel got over 90,000 impressions this month. It was pretty much the same as last month, but definitely a big bump and close to a record for me. And impressions for YouTube this month was amazing. It was over 51%, so hooray! It seems like the algorithm is finally favoring me a little bit. I think that's mostly coming from shorts, not the videos, but I'm not going to complain. And super surprising and exciting for me is we had 62 new subscribers this month. This is definitely a record high for me. I think I had previously maxed out in the low to mid 50s, so more than 2 a day really, which is fantastic. Maybe this shorts thing is finally working out for me. I don't know, but thanks so much again for subscribing. Over on Twitter, I am following 1,337 accounts and 1,056 accounts are following me. And on Instagram, I am following 641 accounts and 440 are following me. Moving into lifetime analytics, the channel now has over 177,000 views and over 12,600 watch hours. This has come from over 1.86 million impressions, with 34.3% of those coming from YouTube. And happily, the channel is now at 1,217 subscribers. Looking at the month-to-month comparison, and I realize I don't show you all these stats individually, but trust me when I say it's better or worse. Views was way better, but watch hours was down a little bit. View duration was up, which is fun. Impressions was down a tiny bit, but it was pretty much a wash. They were within like 1,200 of each other, I think. Impressions from YouTube was up, again, over 50%. Very happy about that. Not subscribed this month was actually better. That's usually over 70%, and we're now in the 68% range. So again, thanks for subscribing. And the number of subscribers was way, way up. Last month was pretty bad for subscribers. This month definitely made up for it. In Lifetime, we broke some pretty cool milestones this month. We're now at over 175,000 views and over 12,500 watch hours. The percent view duration did decrease a bit. It happens. But impressions from YouTube continues to get better, and the not subscribed number, inch by inch, we improve. Plus over 1,200 subscribers now. Hooray! For revenue in month 37, I made about $28. This is over $14 per thousand ads that are viewed, which is over $7 per thousand views overall. And YouTube did change the way that they monetize shorts starting in February, so I am getting a little bit from that. But as you can see by this breakdown, most of the revenue is actually coming from the videos, not the shorts. So even though I'm getting a ton of views and reaching a ton more people, that's pretty much from the shorts. The videos themselves are doing more or less average, I would say. So I'm making, the average amount still. The lifetime revenue is now estimated to be over $200. This is about $17 for every 1,000 ad views, which is a little bit under $2 for every 1,000 views, but hey, no complaints. And looking at the lifetime earnings by month, you can see, again, maybe October was a fluke. In general, I'm sitting comfy at around that $25 a month, so a tiny bit less than $1 a day. It's okay. Longer term revenue goals, I didn't really do anything this month. I am still pretty heavily considering buying a gimbal to make footage smoother. But other than that, I've also been more seriously toying with the idea of buying more of a vlogging camera. Right now, I film on a combination of a point-and-shoot camera that is really great for zooming in pictures, but, not the best for video, and my cell phone. That Steakhouse 71 video, for example, I filmed almost exclusively on my cell phone, and I think was fine, but the audio quality is not that great. Certainly in places with all this background noise, like in the theme parks, it's not the best. Part of why I think I don't enjoy editing vlogs very much is that the film I get, the quality is not very good. And so I wonder if I had an actual vlogging camera with like a mic in it, if that would change things. That's of course like a really big investment. They're over $400 at least. I think the ones people most often recommend are like $700 to $800. I don't know if I care that much, but we will have a longer trip coming up in later of 2023. Maybe I want to bring a vlogging camera. That way I can like properly vlog and editing will be more fun. Footage will be better. I don't know, I'm just thinking about it. If you have any input on this, I would like to hear it. Particularly if you watched the Steakhouse 71 video, how you feel about the quality, I would like to hear that. Upcoming content, obviously this creator update will be probably the first thing that counts in this month. Then we will have a Magic Kingdom vlog from our January trip. We'll do a room tour at the Hilton Buena Vista Palace. It is a 1 king bedroom with a Disney Springs view. Probably there will be an Epcot vlog and then our Space 220 review. There's more coming down the line. We did go to Bull and Bear, so there will be a review for that, as well as our room tour at the Waldorf Astoria. Then there will be some general recap opinion videos about our January trip, so highlights, lowlights, all the new things we did, that kind of stuff. And I'm still working on some Disneyland Paris content in terms of Q&A, and then that follow-up Disability Access Service video as well. I have some questions for you in terms of content. I think this is how we'll wrap it up this month. I've now had a couple requests come through over the past 6 months asking me to post full videos when I'm filming like the parades, the nighttime spectaculars, etc. I have not done this thus far because I am one person filming, usually on my not that great point and shoot camera, and so it's not like a beautiful video from start to end. It's not, the best 20 minutes you've ever seen. So I've been putting clips into the vlogs, and increasingly I'm going to try to put, smaller clips up as part of shorts. But is that something you would be interested in seeing, like my not the best footage of, insert nighttime spectacular parade or whatever here? My personal opinion is that there are other people that go film this from multiple angles in 4K and they splice it together and it's like beautiful and perfect, so why wouldn't you just watch those? But if that's something you guys really want to see, like my not that great footage, I'll post it. Just let me know. And I wanted to ask if there were any Disney Vacation Club topics you feel like I haven't covered that you would like more on. This is a Disney Channel overall, so it is a mix of topics, but definitely, in my opinion, the heart of it is explaining Disney Vacation Club. That being said, I feel like I've covered most of the basics, and for the most part, the policies and terms they use and all the confusing aspects don't really change that much, so I'm kind of out of ideas for a lot of the DVC angle of the channel. I do still want to do 2 head-to-head comparisons. That'll be Boulder Ridge to Copper Creek and Riviera to Grand Flow. And of course, we'll keep doing updates on the Disneyland Tower and the Polynesian Tower and the DVC news, basically. But if there are other DVC concepts you don't understand or you're curious about that I haven't covered, leave a comment down below. And in general, just any other suggestions you have, I would love to hear. I learned from my year 3 monthly creator update that apparently people like it when my partner and I just sort of chat about our opinions, and maybe that helps you form your opinion. That's not something that was really on my radar before. So if there are like ranking or opinion videos you want, leave those in the comments down below. This is a really busy time of year for me at work. The latter half of February through the first half of March just has a ton of deadlines and events that always pile up on top of each other. So I've been a little overwhelmed lately, but I can almost see the light now. And my partner and I are also going on an extended vacation in early April. It's nothing to do with Disney. It's just very much some us time. So I might be a little spotty on the channel between work and vacation, but I'm around and there will at least be content posted through when I'm gone. And hopefully I can work hard enough to make sure there's still content posted after that too. Thanks so much for sticking around for this. I really do value your opinions. I hope the rest of your day is magical, and we'll see you real soon at Pixie Dust PhD.